Good morning. Welcome to Relevant News and UFO Update. Today is March 31st, 2014. The wide gulf remains on Ukraine after Kerry Lavrov Paris talks. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said late on Sunday he and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov discussed suggestions for de-escalating the Ukraine crisis during 4 hours of talks in Paris. Kerry told a news conference that the United States made it clear it still considered Russian actions in Crimea to be illegal and illegitimate. He said he had also raised strong concerns about the presence of Russian troops on the Ukraine border, which he said created a climate of fear and intimidation. But there still seems to be a wide gulf between Kerry's views and those of his Russian counterpart. Lavrov on Sunday said that Ukraine cannot function as a unified state and should be loose federation of regions that choose their own economic model and language and religion. Both Kerry and Lavrov said the United States and Russia would work together to quell tension in the region, but exactly how remains a mystery, given the large difference between what they see as the best possible outcome for the Ukraine. Still, Lavrov called the talks very, very constructive. Lavrov said earlier on Russian TV that if our Western partners are ready, then Russia and the United States and the European Union could form a support group on Ukraine and formulate shared appeals to those now in power in Kiev. This should lead to talks between all Ukrainian political forces without exception, naturally excluding armed radicals, and would end in new constitution allowing for a federal structure with greater regional autonomy, he said. Moscow's federal plan would allow parts of Ukraine to declare Russia as a second official language and secure more independence from Kiev. You know, it sounds to me like Russia is trying to be as democratic as possible with the Ukraine in stating the obvious that a lot of people in Ukraine would rather be Russian. The story continues. It seems to be cooling down a little bit from this is the start of the next World War, but we'll keep our eyes on this one. North and South Korea trade fire island residents in shelters. Seoul, South Korea. North and South Korea fired hundreds of artillery shells into each other's waters Monday in a flare-up of animosity that forced residents of 5 frontline South Korean islands to evacuate to shelters for several hours, South Korean officials said. The exchange of fire into the U.S.C. followed Pyongyang's sudden announcement that it would conduct live fire drills in 7 areas north of Korea's disputed maritime boundary. North Korea routinely fires artillery and missiles into the ocean, but rarely discloses those plans in advance. The announcement was seen as an expression of Pyongyang's frustration at making little progress in its recent push to win outside aid. North Korea fired 500 rounds of artillery shells over more than 3 hours, about 100 of which fell south of the sea boundary of South Korean Defense Minister spokesman Kim Min-suk said South Korea responded by firing 300 shells into North Korean waters. So, kind of par for the course for the two Koreas. One day I fear that one of those shells is going to spark a very serious war, and we really need to keep our eye on North Korea because we know how crazy they can be. Folks, another story that we need to keep an eye on is that Senegal seals borders as Guinea Ebola epidemic kills dozens. The doctor displayed samples of the Ebola virus at the Center of Disease Control in Entebbe, about 37 kilometers or 23 miles southwest of Uganda's capital, Kampala, August 2nd, 2012. The reason I just wanted to touch on this story is that there has been some scuttlebutts out there about Ebola reaching Canada and possibly also coming to the United States, which could be a very scary scenario. Keeping my eyes open on the mainline news for this story, and if something pops up, I will make an update. Jesus said that in the end, the second end of the world, that the times would be similar to the times of Noah. Well, Coincidentally, a movie called Noah wins over faith-based mainstream audiences and hits 44 million on its opening. So apparently, there's a lot of folks out there thinking we're living in the end times. Just a tidbit of news for you. And UFO update, a cube UFO hovers over an Indiana home. An Indiana witness at Gary reported watching a distant light in the sky move quickly to his location and hover as a cube-shaped object just 2 houses away, according to March 28, 2014 testimony in case 55003 from the MUFON network. Watching a distant light in the sky move quickly to his location and hover as a cube-shaped object just 2 houses away, according to March 28, 2014. The witness had a second-floor bedroom with a window facing east that looked out over rooftops of the nearby homes. The witness entered the room in darkness and immediately noticed a star 45 degrees from the horizon that caught his attention about 10 p.m. on May 1st. I went to the window and cupped my hands around my face to block the reflection of the light from the room. The witness said, "I was riveted. There was a star, it grew brighter and appeared to be approaching." Kind of slow for UFO update today, so that's just one older story for you. Have a great day. Remember, tomorrow is April Fool's Day.